So, it seems that Koei Tecmo has bent the knee as they have now censored the fairy tale panty shots in the game. Who didn't see this coming? Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So, more anime game censorship has occurred. Koei Tecmo has censored the fairy tale RPG game after its day one launch with the new update. Fairy Tale Panty Shot censored on all platforms after day one update. Problem is, we've been seeing a lot of the censorship go around. I mean, you look at Soini, you look at their policies, and look at how much they've been censoring anime games, but yet they live for that double standard, for example, allowing that spicy scene with Abby in Last of Us Part 2. And you can clearly see an agenda against anime when you look at places like Amazon, Patreon, and all these other places that have, for one, been trying to either ban anime art style or that have been trying to get rid of light novels and manga. Now here we are yet again. Fairy Tale Panty Shot censored on all platforms after day one update. This article is by Niche Gamer. After day one update for Koei Tecmo games, Fairy Tale JRPG has censored panty shots on all the female characters on all platforms. Users on GameFAQs have discussed the difference in the game's costumes, including the digital deluxe edition costumes from the Japanese version. So everything. This has been censored everywhere. I mean, and the trailers themselves show it off the characters not being censored at all. This is a problem because when it comes to a product, people expect this to be the full product when they buy the game. They expect to buy everything, not be fooled into buying it, and then an update comes in and it just censors everything that they thought was going to be there. You know what I mean? Absolutely absurd. In both the Japanese and English versions of the DDX costume trailer, we can see a panty shot, 10 seconds of the Japanese trailer, 14 seconds of the English one. This is hardly surprising considering the large amount of fan service in the original fairy tale manga, and there's a lot of it. There's a lot of fan service. However, fans recreating the same scene in the Western version, the same character performing the same attack in the same costume, found a dark, shadowy void where the panties were. That's absolutely ridiculous. There's no reason for that. That's really dumb, especially whenever you have in the trailer that's going to be in the game, because that's what people are expecting when they're going to buy the game, when they're expecting fan service, and then they just take that out. They're completely fooling their fans, which, of course, fans should have every right to a refund when things like this happen. I played the game from the moment it downloaded. At first, there were, in fact, pantsu shots of Lucy. Then the game updates to 1.01, and now it's a fading to black area under the skirt. It doesn't look bad, but still weird they chose to do it at all when they said they wouldn't censor it. Now, that's the thing. When you say you're not going to censor something, your fans are obviously going to expect you not to censor something, right? I mean, why wouldn't they? Especially when you have a trailer, because you can look up the trailer. Especially when you have a trailer where the panty shots are all there, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. It's still there in the trailer. And then, of course, you go to buy it day one, and everything seems the way it's supposed to, and then the next thing you know, there's this update, and then just there's a black void there. A bit odd. And you're lying to your fans, considering you said you wouldn't censor anything, and then there you are censoring something, I mean, that's completely lying to your fan base, and that's breaking the trust between the company and the fans. It's something that they shouldn't be doing, but clearly, they went ahead and bent the knee and did it anyways. Others expressed their confusion, considering some of the game's costumes included two-piece swimsuits that could expose the very top or bottom of their buttocks. Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous. And you also have to keep in mind, that these companies, what is it that they're usually against? Fan service of female characters. They have a problem if female characters show too much ankle nowadays. Keep that in mind. That is one big thing that they are really hating on, is if a female character shows off too much. They really can't stand it. They really can't at all. The censorship is in spite of most of the female characters' costumes featuring deep cleavage on large breasts, the aforementioned swimsuits or clothes that expose the hips to imply no underwear is being worn. It also appears to be applicable to the PC version, even to Steam users in Japan, and DLC costumes. The censorship appears to be applied to all platforms. The game is on Windows, PC, Nintendo Switch, and PlayStation 4. We are attempting to confirm if the game is censored on consoles in Japan as well. But, leave it to these companies to betray their own audience, considering that, when you look at it, people were expecting the fan service. That was what was shown in the trailers, and then you take that out, you know, that's not a good thing because that's false advertising and you're also betraying the trust of your customers. Don't expect them to come back when you do stuff like this. According to the Fairy Tale fandom wiki, only 3 of the female characters shown are aged 18 or over. Nonetheless, this does not explain the change being applied to all characters or why the panty shots were not censored earlier in development if the publisher and developer knew it would need to be censored later. Now, I can't tell you whether age of the characters was a determining factor as to why this happened, but we've been seeing video games that are anime related be censored all the time. For example, we saw Soini themselves censored Senran Kagura. Soini seemingly censors controversial Senran Kagura mode. And it's funny because the Nintendo Switch version, as well as the PC version, did not censor this game. Keep that in mind. Also, Devil May Cry 5's PS4 version was weirdly censored with those weird lens flares with the scene with Trish and Dante. Very bizarre. Of course, that was patched later. And then we also had the issue with Tifa and Final Fantasy VII Remake, where her breasts were tightened because of their ethnics department. I mean, we've been seeing this going around, and here's a big thing here is where a Japanese developer is actually afraid of remaking a game. Kazuya Nino wants to remake Fate Extra CCC, worried about the game being too lewd. Yeah, you see, that's bad whenever a creator has to worry about something being too lewd. Fate Extra CCC Remake will probably come someday, but it won't be anytime soon, seeing the development of Fate Extra Record looks far from complete. Now, the director himself in this article brings up an excellent point about this game because he wants to remake Fate Extra CCC. He wants to do it, but he's very afraid of the future of anime considering the Puritans and censorship and how he fears that it could actually ruin anime. So, taking a look into this article, around the 17-minute and 50-second mark on the stream, Kazuya Nino goes, "I need to say it, I definitely want to remake CCC too, but nothing is decided yet." As he kept discussing with Kana Ueda, in Rin's appearance, they both jokingly mentioned how lewd the game is. Fate Extra CCC has Chara designs by Aruko Wada, and she really went all out with some designs. The later's design, in particular, is pretty funny once you've heard Wada really likes heels, and CCC overall has multiple sexual fan service themed CGs, multiple half-naked men too, and a peculiar final boss. Now, I'm all for fan service. I have no problem with it whatsoever, I'm all for it. Nino said he's worried about releasing the game nowadays, and he'll take some time to think about all that as he keeps working on Fate Extra Record. Nino was probably referencing how Soini, for over a year now, tends to randomly censor Japanese games on PS4 and Vita compared to their Switch, PC, or Xbox One releases, and doing so without regard to the age rating the game has in the first place, in which we've seen this multiple times over, when it goes to show his fear. Personally speaking, I strongly disagree with Soini's current way of doing things. It's similar to cultural racism with how it seems to believe the land of freedom and justice is always right, and that these kind of Japanese games are inherently sexist and need to be changed rather than be explained. Oh, wow, that statement right there, bravo. That is a good statement that he brought up there. I gotta give him credit. That is a fantastic statement right there. It's particularly worse as it tends to be very random. So many small Japanese studios don't really know what to change or not. Changing things after development also costs money, so some could end up auto-censoring themselves from the start too. With that said, I couldn't disagree more with those who keep claiming waifus are being destroyed by the West, and whatever nonsense. As if Sony censorship was such a huge issue, or that every single Japanese game with sexual fan service was systematically affected, as if they disappeared from PS4 and Vita. See, here's the big thing with this also, is that with Sony's policies here, them living for that double standard with that spicy Abby scene, they can let that stay in there apparently. But when it comes to anime games, they can't stand 2D boobs. I mean, oh man, just, the terrible villainy of 2D boobs. Yeah, that's the way they see it, which is absolutely ridiculous. Goes to show the double standard that Sweeney actually lives for. And that's the big problem here, was that by doing this, they're taking away the freedom of expression of these directors, and they're even afraid to even produce these games, because by making them, then they're afraid that they're going to have to change things instead of being able to do things the way they want to. And here's the thing I think about this. When it comes to these companies, what they need to do, if they want to be able to get away from, for example, Sony's big, huge issues, just pull away from them then. Don't make a game for them. Make it for the Switch, make it for Xbox, make it for, PC even. Then forget Sweeney if Sweeney's going to sit over there and they're going to censor this stuff. I mean, there's no reason to censor it. It's absolutely ridiculous. It goes to show Sweeney's double standard. And here's another big thing about this. These companies should pull away from making games for Sweeney then. But speaking of Sweeney, we're not going to let them off the hook. So with Aokana, the big thing about that is, I talked about that over a month ago when the whole issue of them coming out saying that, the game is going to be censored. Well, of course, I talked about this as well, where an inside source reveals Sweeney's censorship policy against anime, proving that there is an agenda against anime that is not just Sweeney, that there are multiple companies we're starting to see with, like, Patreon, Amazon, and many others. We're seeing this agenda against anime. Well, here's Sweeney's policy. We're going to get into a little bit of this too while we're at it. So, getting to an important part. That was the end of it until I received a DM on Discord from someone who has experience dealing with Sweeney's censorship policies. This person, who wished to remain anonymous, let me in on some things we have long suspected. First and foremost, Sweeney does, in fact, issue an ultimatum on publishers: either amend your game or it will never be released on PS4. I know this seems fairly obvious, but, as I said, we never had anyone come out and confirm this was the case. Then continues, I was then told that Sweeney often instructs publishers to not reveal what was altered or removed. This is a blatant attempt by Sweeney to obfuscate what is going on and to trick people into purchasing a censored product. By the time customers know they have a censored product, it would be either too late to return it, or they have invested too much time into it to want to return it. Sweeney gets paid and customers get screwed. And that's what they're doing with anime games. They're censoring anime games, and then, of course, then people are going to go buy it. But by the time that they've bought it, Sweeney gets the money, and guess what? No refunds. So they've screwed over their customers. And this is the slimy, disgusting policy Sweeney has. Okay? This is how they go about it, apparently. And that's disgusting because they're screwing over their fans this way. They're promising things in the game that, then won't be there. And then by the time you get it, you don't know it until you get it, which is very disgusting. It's very awful. And I mean, it's like how they tricked people with the Last of Us Part 2 trailer, making you think that Joel had a bigger role. And then, of course, they completely screwed him over, as well as all the fans, which, people found out in the leaks, obviously. And when you take a look at this last and final paragraph from Sweeney, okay, this shows how awful it is. Even boycotting censored anime games will do nothing but allow Sweeney's American branch to claim Americans don't like anime games, and that is why these censored games didn't sell. It seems that Sweeney's American branch has deemed anime games unacceptable for Western audiences, and there isn't a damn thing you can do about it. See, that's the way that Sweeney's trying to go about this whole thing. They're trying to, if people don't like the censored version, then they're going to try to deem it as, oh, well, people just don't like anime games. Anime is just not popular. When that's not the case at all, when there are plenty of anime fans, like myself included, that love anime to death. But when you promise us a product, and then you even show us evidence of how the product itself is not going to be altered in any way or form, and then you alter it, oh, well, yeah, that's the problem, because you promised us something that we're never going to get. And, that's when you speak with your wallet. That's the way that you get at these companies like Sweeney, for example, that if they're going to censor things, then you're not going to buy it, plain and simple. And these companies, if they want their freedom of expression, of course, they're going to need to fight for it. But the other thing is that if companies like Sweeney's going to come in there and, dictate how they can and can't do something, then, don't make a game for that company. That's exactly how it should be. I mean, that's what I would do if I was those companies, but that's just me. But anyways, Let me know what you think about this entire situation down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and make sure you were still subscribed because YouTube is unsubscribing people from all their favorite channels. So make sure you were still subscribed to all your favorite channels. Hit the video with a like, and also be sure to share the video on social media. Spread the word and get it out there. It's greatly appreciated, and it really helps out the channel a lot. Also, be sure to follow me on Discord. We have a wonderful community there. Not only that, but it will keep you up to date on when the newest videos will be released, as well as any other upcoming events in the near future. So be sure to follow me on Discord. The link is in the description down below. But anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you. And have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.